Great. So in this session, I'd like to address how the post-2009, the international community addressed the crisis that happened in 2009. This session, I've got friends from South Cameroon and we have got friends from Catalonia. And people like us, we always believe that the international community will stand with the victims and they will uphold the justice or uphold the international legal system. But let's look at how the international community went along after 2009. Probably that will give a glimpse of idea how we will be facing the justice in the international arena. And immediately after the 2009 and during the 2009, international community is supposed to go for international investigation on what happened in Sri Lanka. But for nearly 10 months, international community didn't react at all. And the first reaction came from the Russell Tribunal. They went for a tribunal in Dublin, which brought out what happened in Sri Lanka is in fact is a war crime, and then there is a reason for us to investigate whether the genocide is committed or not. And along with it charged the Western governments for not standing by the victims. So, that was the first report that happened in 2010 January. That created a pressure. So, the UN Secretary General called for an expert committee. He set up an expert committee to advise on what happened in Sri Lanka. And we should remember that the moment immediately after the war, Ban Ki-moon issued a statement that he congratulated the Sri Lankan government. And he immediately withdrawn after a huge pressure happened, condemnation from the other parts of the world, from the democratic forces. So we could see that UN stood along with the Sri Lankan government. So he called for an expert committee. That expert committee started its investigation, but it was not allowed to enter into the Sri Lanka. And eventually, the Mahinda Rajapaksa set out a domestic investigation team, which is called as LLRC, Lessons Learned and Reconciliation. And then the UN Secretary General's expert panel commented on the LLRC. Previous one. Yeah. This comment is very important. The previous one. Next one. Yeah. LLRC is deeply flawed. This was commented by the UN Secretary General's panel itself, and does not meet international standards for an effective accountability mechanism. Therefore, does not and cannot satisfy the joint commitment of the President of Sri Lanka, Secretary General, to an accountability process. We should keep these comments keep in our mind, because the resolution that came afterwards, that was proposed by US, is very much based on the LLRC. So LLRC says that in evaluating the Sri Lankan experience, the Commission is satisfied with the military strategy. That is the Commission called as Lessons Learned and Reconciliation. They're saying that the Commission is satisfied with the military strategy that was adopted to secure the LTT held areas was one that was carefully conceived, in which protection of the civilian population was given the highest priority. So this kind of commission set up by the Mahinda Rajapaksa was taken as the basis for the UN resolution that comes in the consequent years in the UNHRC. Let's move forward. So in 2012, US sponsored UN resolution where the international community opposed to the people that they are taking action against Sri Lanka. But if you look at the details, the finer details of it, calls upon this government of Sri Lanka, mentioned in the US resolution, to implement the constructive recommendations made in the report of LLRC. So ideally, the US government proposed the internal investigative report set up by the Mahinda Rajapaksa to get implemented. That is what proposed in the UNHRC as a resolution against Sri Lanka. So the Mahinda Rajapaksa set up a committee that gave recommendations, but he refused to implement those recommendations. But US came into the picture saying that these recommendations need to be implemented. That is the UNHRC resolution. That is the resolution brought from the 2012 United Nations. And probably we'll move on to the next thing. Again in 2013, US asked for implementation of LLRC recommendations. It reiterated its call upon the government of Sri Lanka to implement effective constructive recommendations made in the report of LLRC. And in 2013, the Tamil Nadu in India, where I belong to, where about 80 million Tamil people living, the students in Tamil Nadu occupied the streets in Tamil Nadu against these kinds of resolutions. They even burned the US resolutions. They protested against the US imperialism. They protested siege on the US economical, the shops and things like that. So during that kind of protest, Tamil Nadu Assembly passed a resolution that there will be international independent investigation on crime of genocide, not the US sponsored resolution. They clearly wanted an international independent investigation on crime of genocide, but that didn't happen in 2014 also. The US resolution again centered on the LLRC. The entire investigation from the genocide then moved on to the war crimes, then moved on to the human rights violation, then become an internal investigation. And in 2015, the government that has been accused of crime of genocide itself co-sponsored the resolution in the UNHRC. That is the status that we are seeing in the international arena. So the perpetrators of crime could be able to sponsor a resolution on the victims. Maybe probably, sorry? 10 minutes, right? Sure. So we have to compare the situation like this, like if the people who killed the South Cameroonians have to sponsor a resolution in UNHRC, will you accept it? Or the Spanish government will sponsor a resolution on the Catalans. That is the kind of situation that we are seeing in the international arena. So we have to be very clear on how we are going to take it forward, because there are clear cases in the international space where how these kind of cases being dealt with. The same year, 2009, South Sudan, the UN called for international investigation for crime of genocide on 2 accounts, and the South Sudanese people gave opportunity to go for a referendum. But the same year, the Tamil people were denied of an investigation on the genocide, denied the rights for right to self-determination or a referendum. But in the same 2009, if you go for a Goldstone report on Israel's war on Palestine, the Goldstone reports clearly mentioned that the Israel committed a war crime and the Palestinians also committed a war crime. Let the Israel government investigate its own crime and Palestinians investigate their own crime. It's not that a Goldstone report called for Israel government to investigate the Palestinians or Hamas, despite Hamas being a terrorist organization as declared and it's a de facto state. But in the UNHRC didn't go that way. But rather, if you look at the Tamil case, the UNHRC, the expert committee said that both sides committed crimes then, but the Sri Lankan crime will be investigated by the Sri Lankan government, and the so-called crime by the LTTE will be also be investigated by the Sri Lankan government. So that's the kind of proposal put forward in the international spaces. And UNHRC President proposed a hybrid investigation. Hybrid investigation cannot work on the nationality issues, only where the suppressed community, the suppressed nationality got a sovereignty to protect its own people, have got a sovereignty and strength to protect the witnesses. Then only they can go for a hybrid investigation. But they're talking about a hybrid investigation. Hybrid investigation will not work. Hybrid investigation can work in situations like Cambodia or Rwanda. But if you look at the East Timor case, they didn't go for a hybrid investigation with the Indonesian government. They gave the sovereignty rights to the East Timorese people. Then they went for a hybrid investigation where Indonesian government and the sovereign East Timorese government can form an investigation. But in this case of Sri Lanka, in the case of Tamil, we can't go for a hybrid investigation unless otherwise independent, sovereign Tamil was established. Without that, we cannot go for a hybrid investigation also. So we should not be taken for granted in the international spaces with these kinds of gimmicks and tricks. So we have to be very clear on what we want. We have to stick to that, and we should not feel that okay, US is coming in favor of us, UK is coming in favor of us, and they will give us the freedom, they will give us the right, they will deliver the justice. That's not the lesson that we learn in the inner zone. And also, I'm from India. India played a very dirty role, and India is the main culprit in the genocide. And we propose in the forums that there need to be investigation on the Indian part. The Indian officials need to be brought into the books. Unless otherwise you don't charge the Indian government, you cannot deliver justice to the Tamil people. Even if Sri Lankan government ready to give Tamil and ready to go for international investigation on genocide, India will not accept it, US will not accept it, UK will not accept it. That is the situation now. So, and from as a Tamilian from India, and we have celebrated the kind of governance that happened in de facto state. I have to say that the international community might say that LTT is a terrorist organization, but despite having 70 years of independence, the caste discrimination is so high in our state, in our Indian subcontinent. But caste was banned in Tamil Nadu de facto state, and Tamil women rights was not, is a different dream. Is a deep dream in India, but in the Tamil Nadu de facto state, the women liberation is on the forefront. They led the de facto state from all the fronts. So for us, it is a very, very progressive state. So we dream. We see that it's a dream for us, because we are living under the Hindutva Aryan fundamentalism. And because international community didn't come forward to dismantle the terrorist state in Sri Lanka, which is a Buddhist Chauvinism, the Buddhist Chauvinist terrorist state is strengthening in Burma. And the same kind of Hindutva terrorist state is getting formed in India. And last year, trying to hold a candlelight vigil for Tamil genocide, in the same date last year, I was imprisoned for 4 months in India. So India is that kind of a state. India is moving towards it. I'm going to land India day after tomorrow, and I might be arrested because of holding a candlelight vigil for the victims. That's the kind of state of South Asia. And you, Indian international community, we urge international community that you allow a terrorist state to survive. You allow them to commit a genocide. So that spreads across the South Asia. You stop it. That the best way to put a full stop to this kind of a terrorist mechanism is to liberate the Tamil Nadu. That's the only way forward. Thank you.